Fallen former President Daniel Moi is set to be the fifth Kenyan to ever be accorded the ultimate honor of a state funeral. Moi's, however, is unique as it will be the first for a former head of state, with Kenya's history illustrated by a week-long mourning period for a president that died in office in Mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
Well, Sam Gituku looks into what goes into a state funeral and how unique Moi's will be compared to four other Kenyans that have gone before him.
A presidential proclamation on the morning of Tuesday communicated the news of a fallen former head of state, mourning him but also prescribing how Daniel Moi will be mourned by the nation. President Kenyatta in the proclamation directed that all flags at all key installations and public places be flown half-mast and a period of mourning be observed until he is laid to rest. And immediately, the military took over crucial operations, including security at the Lee funeral home. Some even seen at the Nairobi hospital where President Moi died.
Good morning.
There's a precursor to a state funeral to be held in the coming days. In Kenya's history, 4 Kenyans have been accorded the ultimate honor. They are President Jomo Kenyatta, who died in August 1978, Vice President Michael Kijana Wamalwa, who died in August 2003, Nobel laureate Professor Wangari Maathai, who passed on in September 2011, and former First Lady Lucy Kibaki, who died in April 2016. But Moi's death and subsequent processes have been handled differently thus far. While Jomo Kenyatta died 3:30 a.m. on the 22nd day of August 1978, his death was only made public several hours later on The Voice of Kenya, now KBC, as state functionaries grappled with the difficulty of the passing on of a sitting head of state. For Moi, it was made public within an hour since his stated time of death announced by President Kenyatta. Just like his predecessor, Moi will be mourned nationally the entire time until his burial. The Kenyan flag flown half-mast the entire time, just like Kenyatta and former Vice President Michael Wamalwa. Former First Lady Lucy Kibaki was mourned nationally for 3 days, with flags flown half-mast on the same days. Professor Wangari Maathai was mourned for just 2 days. The founding father Mzee Jomo Kenyatta lay in state at State House for public viewing. So did Kijana Wamalwa at Parliament buildings. The coming days will tell if a similar opportunity will be accorded President Moi. In accordance with presidential state funeral culture, Moi's body will be under military guard round the clock, escorted by KDF officers wherever it goes until it's interred. A source at the Kenya Defence Forces told Citizen TV that KDF officers will, in liaison with Moi's family, prepare the grave for the former head of state and be responsible for lowering the body to the grave. Once lowered, a 21-gun salute is expected to be held in honor of the former chief of the armed forces. That evening will mark the end of national mourning and last day of the flag flying half-mast. He was instrumental in the final send-off of Kenya's founding father, President Jomo Kenyatta, back in 1978. 41 years later, Daniel Moi, the man that took over from President Jomo Kenyatta, has died, and he will be the second person accorded a presidential state funeral whose manner and style promises to be historic. Sam Gituku, Citizen TV, Nairobi.